This is the case of Amber Hagerman, November 25, 1986 to January 15, 1996, Arlington, Texas. This is the story of Amber Hagerman, 9, whose brutal abduction and murder inspired the Amber Alert. The ear-splitting sound has become all too familiar to millions of Americans across the country. An Amber Alert is sent out by cops to cell phones around the nation to ask for help in finding missing kids. But while the alert is a well-known tool used by law enforcement, it's the little girl who inspired the system who is now the focus of a new documentary. Amber Hagerman was just 9 years old when she was kidnapped and murdered in Texas on January 13, 1996. She had been riding her bike with her younger brother in Arlington when she was abducted. The siblings had been in an abandoned Winn-Dixie parking lot, but they got separated after Ricky decided to ride back to their grandparents' home. Before Amber could join him, she was snatched off her bike in broad daylight by a man driving a black pickup truck. Police quickly began searching for Amber, but 4 days later, she was found near a creek about 4 miles from the grocery store. A killer has never been found in the high-profile child abduction case, and her death is now the subject of a new Peacock documentary released on Tuesday. Detective Ben Lopez of the Arlington Police Department told NBC News in 2016, "It's been extremely frustrating for it to go on this long and not have it solved. We have other cold cases and they're all frustrating. We want to solve them all, but 20 years is a long time. It's frustrating not to be able to give the mom and the family an answer." But while Amber's murder has not been solved, her disappearance was the catalyst for an alert that is now used across the world in various guises to help save other children. "It's a shame my daughter had to be butchered and had to go through what she went through for us to have the Amber Alert, but I know she would be proud of it," Mother Donna Williams told Yahoo News in 2016. Amber, while being named after the youngster, also stands for America's Missing Broadcast Emergency Response. The warning means police can reach their communities and warn them to keep an eye out so the child can be safely returned. It launched in 1996 when Dallas-Fort Worth broadcasters teamed with local police to develop an early warning system. That came following Amber's disappearance. Following the news, a mother named Diana Simone called into a local radio station to say, "The problem was not that people didn't see them, it's that they didn't know what they were seeing." She suggested broadcasters interrupting their programming for similar cases going forward and suggested it be called Amber's Plan. There are guidelines for Amber Alerts, including a required reasonable belief by law enforcement that an abduction has occurred. Authorities must also believe the child is in imminent danger of serious bodily injury or death. Enough descriptive information about the child must be provided to the public in order for the alert to be useful. The missing child must be 17 years old or younger. As of December 31, 2021, 1,111 children have been recovered because of the Amber Alert system, according to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. "There's another part of me that wonders what would have happened if we would have had the alert when Amber went missing," she added. "Could it have helped bring her back to me?" Her story: It was a cold winter when Amber Hagerman, a 9-year-old innocent girl, and her 5-year-old little brother, Ricky, visited Arlington, Texas to meet their grandparents. Glenda Whitson and Jimmy Whitson were pleased to see their grandchildren and their daughter Donna. It was January 13, 1996, around 3 p.m. when the children and their mother arrived. As the children often did when they visited their grandparents' house, they asked if they could ride on their bikes. Since Donna used to bike near the house often, they did not give a second thought and allowed them to go. Donna told them not to go further than a block, but they did not listen. Amber and Ricky pedaled until Winn-Dixie grocery store, which was 2 blocks away from the house. Ricky got worried and thought about what his mother had said. He told Amber that he was going back, and left. When Ricky arrived home, his mother and his grandparents asked where Amber was. After telling them what happened, they sent Ricky back to bring his sister with him. It was too late. Amber was nowhere in sight. Ricky, apprehended, rapidly pedaled back home. After hearing that Amber was missing, Jimmy got on his car and rushed to the Winn-Dixie grocery store. Police had arrived after a call from an old man named Jim Keville, but all there was left was Amber's bike. According to Keville, a young man forced Amber into a dark truck and drove west of Arlington. This case was soon on the front page of the newspapers. Police and FBI did their best investigating the case. They put pictures of Amber everywhere in the hopes of getting other witnesses who had seen the incident. Donna was on television pleading the stranger who abducted Amber to let her free. Despite all this hard working, nothing came back. 4 days later, a man unexpectedly found Amber's body. A few weeks after the incident, the police let out several theories that could have possibly made the criminal act the way he did. Police believed that something triggered the criminal to abduct Amber. It wasn't something planned in advance. Some say that the criminal might have had a fight with a lover, lost his job, or just something that psychologically led him to abduct Amber. Investing $1 million solely on this case, everyone slowly abandoned it. The theories did not really help the investigation, and nearly after 10 years, it's still left as an unsolved case. After this incident, the Dallas Amber Plan, 1997, was created. Here, the radio and television broadcasters were to inform instantly about the abductions happening. The plan was proved useful when a babysitter who was on drugs disappeared with an 8-week-old baby. Through this program, the baby was safely returned. In 2000, an official Amber Alert program was made and around 240 children were rescued from abductions. Amber Alerts were useful, but overuse and misuse of it worried the federal government. Therefore, an age limit of 17 and below who were in dire situations was set. Every time a child is safely returned through this program, Glenda Whitson thanks Amber for it. She grieves for Amber and still has hope that the strange criminal will get caught before she dies. An enduring legacy for Amber, 1000 success stories. July 23, 2020, a home movie was being shown on the evening news, and Diana Simone stopped what she was doing to watch, curious why they were featuring an excited little girl opening her Christmas presents nearly 3 weeks after the holiday. The blue-eyed brunette happily held up a Barbie doll for the video camera and waved and smiled as she took her new pink bicycle for a test drive. Simone was eager to hear what this child had done to warrant a spot on the news. Her curiosity quickly turned to heartbreak. The news anchor said the 9-year-old girl, Amber Hagerman, had just been yanked off that new pink bicycle by a stranger and thrown, kicking and screaming, into his black pickup truck in the parking lot of an abandoned Winn-Dixie in Arlington, Texas. Her family was there, visiting her grandparents, and she'd been riding bikes with her 5-year-old brother. He pedaled as fast as his little legs would go to get help. Like Simone, her Arlington community desperately wanted to help search for Amber but didn't know what to look for, even though there had been an adult who saw the whole thing. Frustrated, Simone called a Dallas-Fort Worth radio station with an idea. "We have weather and civil defense alerts, why not alerts for critically missing children?" Amber's body was found 4 days after her January 13, 1996, abduction in a creek bed. Her killer has never been found. In the wake of the tragedy, Simone's idea eventually took off and became what is known today as the Amber Alert system, which was designed to quickly galvanize a community to help search for critically missing kids. Now, 24 years after it began, America's Missing Broadcast Emergency Response, Amber, has reached a remarkable milestone, its 1000th success story with the recovery of 4 children in Wyoming believed to have been in imminent danger. It's so uplifting, especially during this time when you're seeing so many negative examples of selfishness, said Simone, describing the public's enduring response to Amber Alerts as humanity at its best. To see that the country's spirit and caring is still very active is heartwarming to say the least. The 1000th successful recovery came when the Fremont County Sheriff's Office in Wyoming requested an Amber Alert for 4 missing children, ages 5, 6, 11 and 14, from the Arapaho tribe. Their non-custodial mother had taken them from a home outside the reservation where they had been placed by the tribe for protection. Chris McGuire, Wyoming's Amber coordinator, confirmed that the children were in imminent danger and that there were sufficient descriptions of the vehicle, suspect and children for the public to help find them. A tribal court had issued a protective order to keep the mother away from the children, and McGuire activated the alert in the state. The alert generated a lead when the mother, Stacia Potter Norris, 30, stopped at a glass company to have a rear window of the vehicle replaced and, with no money, offered to sell some guns in exchange for the work, McGuire said. She left her phone number with the clerk, who turned it over to law enforcement. Another tip came when a homeless man saw the vehicle described in the alert at a truck stop. He watched the driver swapping her vehicle with someone she appeared to know in another vehicle. Using the phone number the mother gave the store clerk, investigators were able to track her movements to the Denver area. At Fremont County's request, Colorado issued an Amber Alert in that state with the updated vehicle information. That prompted a call from someone who saw a vehicle matching that description parked at a Motel 6. Using the motel's surveillance tape, the children were found safe in room 222, but the mother had disappeared. She was later found, arrested on felony charges and extradited back to Wyoming. This is a success story that could have gone really bad, really quick, said McGuire, who's proud of the milestone success story. It really does show how the Amber Alert works. Amber got its start in 1996 after Simone, a self-described ordinary woman and mother who saw the report about Amber on TV, called the radio station and was asked by the station manager to follow up with a letter, explaining what she envisioned. The station manager promised to present Simone's idea at an upcoming meeting of regional station managers. In her letter, dated 14 days after Amber's abduction, Simone wrote that if the radio station could gather enough support for such an emergency broadcast system, she had one request, that it be known as Amber's Plan. Simone's persistence paid off, and, with the media and law enforcement working together, the alert system was given FCC permission to operate. But after the first 2 years, Simone said, when there had been no successful recoveries, she feared its demise was imminent. Then, in November 1998, Arlington, Texas police received a report that an 8-week-old girl, Rayleigh Bradbury, had been abducted by her babysitter, who may be headed to a crack house. After she'd been missing for a day, law enforcement decided to give the new Amber Alert system another try. This time it worked, and it only took 90 minutes for someone to recognize the babysitter's turquoise truck. Rayleigh was recovered unharmed and now, as an adult, has become a strong advocate for Amber and a symbol of hope for all families of missing children. Since that first success, the Amber Alert system, which is administered by the Justice Department and has 86 plans nationwide, has vastly expanded its reach, using all available technology to get vital information into the hands of people in the best position to help. They're only used in the most serious child abduction cases, and only those that meet the individual state's strict criteria. At the direction of law enforcement, the alert is first sent to radio and television stations, the lottery, the Department of Transportation and to us at the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, NCMEC. Then we, as secondary distributors, send it out to a wider audience, including internet service providers such as Facebook, Google, and Twitter, digital billboards, the trucking industry, and truck stops. Then, 7 years ago, Amber Alerts got a significant boost. Law enforcement began enlisting the public's help through their cell phones via a wireless emergency alert, dramatically increasing the chance that the right person, at the right time would see the alert and help save a child. Because so many people have cell phones, more people are getting the information faster than ever before. It was a game changer, said Carly Tapp, Amber's program specialist at NCMEC. Awareness skyrocketed. Now, almost everyone knows what an Amber Alert is. And when you receive one on your cell phone, please know that the child is in extreme danger. That's what they're helping with, the worst of the worst cases. Of the 1,000 success stories, 75 have already been attributed to alerts on cell phones, Tapp said. She said there are likely many more than 1,000 cases that have been resolved due to Amber Alerts, but that it's not always easy to confirm when someone calls in a tip resulting in a recovery that they had seen the alert, she said. 24 years later, Simone is thrilled by the sustained success of Amber Alerts, a wonderful legacy for Amber. And why was she so certain that an alert system would work when others weren't so sure? Said Simone, because I believe in the goodness in people. Still searching for Amber's killer. A month after 9-year-old Amber Hagerman was abducted off her pink bicycle and found murdered, her mother, Donna Williams, went to her daughter's elementary school in Arlington, Texas for the dedication of a new playground in Amber's name and to console her classmates who didn't understand why she had to die. Her eyes shot to Amber's empty desk and the Amber Museum that Mrs. Walters' third-grade class had decorated with pink hearts and ribbons and a large framed class photo of their blue-eyed brunette friend. But sensing her pain, the children instead tried to comfort Amber's mother and raised their hands. "I always wanted to play with her, I liked her a lot, she's really pretty, she was nice." And they shyly asked her about some things they'd been wondering. "What time did she leave on her bike?" one boy asked. "At 3:10 Saturday afternoon. She was abducted at 3:18, Williams said, trying to soften the jarring facts in a gentle voice. "It just took 8 minutes, she said, stroking a girl's hair in the first row. "So you guys stay close to home, okay?" Williams' long journey through grief and healing, including her visit to Amber's school, was captured on film in a moving WFAA-TV documentary, After Amber. Today, January 13, 2021, marks 25 years since Amber was abducted and murdered in a case that shook the nation and changed the way we search for abducted children. Her body was found 4 days after she was grabbed off her pink bicycle. Her killer has never been found. Arlington police held a news conference today to honor Amber's incredible legacy. Her murder inspired the creation of Amber Alerts, which so far have directly led to the safe recovery of 1,029 abducted children, but also to assure Amber's family and the public that they haven't stopped looking for Amber's killer. They asked for the public's help, offered a $10,000 reward for information leading to an arrest, and established a special tipline. For the first time, they released photos taken after her body was found in a creek, hoping someone will remember something and come forward. Police are hoping advancements in technology will help them solve the case and will be submitting the small sample of DNA they collected at the crime scene. "This is still an open, ongoing murder investigation," said Det Grant Gilden, the lead investigator on the case. "We want to solve it. We want to get answers for the family." Amber's mother, who went by her maiden name, Williams, at the time of the documentary, also spoke at the news conference. "I implore the media and public to ensure the focus on this 25th anniversary of Amber's kidnapping remains on finding the killer and bringing him to justice," Williams said. "I miss her every day. I want to know why her. She was just a little girl," she said, then addressed the killer. "Please turn yourself in." On that day, January 13, 1996, Amber was grabbed off her bike, kicking and screaming, by a stranger in a black truck in the parking lot of an abandoned Winn-Dixie. The man, either white or Hispanic, waited until Amber's 5-year-old brother, Ricky, had left on his bike, heading back to their grandparents' house. They'd been told just to ride their bikes around the block but were drawn to the nearby parking lot with the cool ramp. Amber's body was discovered in a creek 4 days later and about 4 miles away. Sergeant Ben Lopez was on the original task force created after Amber's murder, which has stayed with him nearly his entire career. The case has generated more than 7,000 leads, which were investigated, but they still have no suspect, he said. Police believe Amber was kept alive for at least 2 days, so they're convinced someone must have seen something during that time. Her body was dumped in a creek behind an apartment complex, spotted by a man walking his dog. A man who lived across from the Winn-Dixie, and has since died, witnessed the abduction through a chain-link fence. He told police he had seen the little girl riding her bike and then saw the man, in his 20s or 30s, throw her in his truck as she kicked and screamed. He said the suspect was medium build and less than 6 feet tall. He had brown or black hair. The black pickup truck had a single cab, with no chrome or striping, and was in good condition. Amber's pink bicycle was recovered from the parking lot. There's a laundromat next to the Winn-Dixie, and police believe others may have witnessed the abduction but were too afraid to come forward, perhaps fearing deportation. Police said they want to allay those fears, they just want information. Diane Simone heard about Amber's abduction 25 years ago on the evening news. They were showing a recent home video of Amber happily opening her Christmas presents and holding up a Barbie doll, then taking her new pink bicycle for a spin while waving and smiling at the camera. Like her Arlington community, Simone wanted to help search for Amber but didn't know what to look for, even though someone had witnessed the abduction. Frustrated, the self-described ordinary woman and mother called a Dallas-Fort Worth radio station with an idea. "We have weather and civil defense alerts, why not alerts for abducted children?" Simone's idea eventually took off and became what is known today as the Amber, America's Missing, Broadcast Emergency Response, Alert System, which is administered by the Justice Department and was designed to quickly galvanize a community to help search for an abducted child. Last year, Amber reached a milestone with its 1,000th success story, the recovery of 4 children in imminent danger in Wyoming. At the direction of law enforcement, the alerts are first sent to radio and television stations, the lottery, the Department of Transportation and to us here at the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, NCMEC. Then we send it to a much wider audience. Carly Tapp, who oversees the program for us at NCMEC, says there are likely many more than 1,029 successful recoveries resulting from Amber Alerts. Most children in which an Amber Alert has been issued are safely recovered, but it's not always possible to determine if it was because of the alert, she said. Before her daughter was abducted, Williams, a single mother working toward her GED, was featured along with Amber and Ricky in a special about welfare reform that aired on WFAA-TV in Dallas. After spending weeks with the family, they were allowed after Amber's shocking abduction to film the family's devastating journey. Williams receiving the news that Amber's body had been found, Williams' emotional visit to Amber's elementary school, Williams standing in for her daughter at a special ceremony for new junior Girl Scouts. They documented the short life of a happy little girl with a scrapbook full of awards for good grades and attendance, a child who loved creative writing, Barbies, and riding her pink bike. Stoppers of Tarrant County at 817-469 tips, 8,477. At the Girl Scout ceremony, the children sang Amber's favorite song, America the Beautiful. Her favorite line? "For Amber waves of grain." If anyone has any information, please call Arlington, Texas Police at 817-575-8823. For those who wish to remain anonymous, call Crime Stoppers of Tarrant County at 817-469 tips, 8,477. Amber Hagerman's murder inspired Amber Alerts. 26 years later, her killer hasn't been caught. Who did this to Amber? The kidnapping and brutal murder of a 9-year-old Texas girl is what inspired the Amber Alert system. Her name is Amber Hagerman, and 26 years after she was kidnapped and murdered, her killer still hasn't been caught. The kidnapping and murder of Amber Hagerman, 9, was riding her bicycle in a parking lot of an abandoned grocery store in Arlington, Texas on January 13, 1996, when she was kidnapped. A witness told police he saw a man get out of a black pickup truck, grab her off her bicycle and force her into his truck as she kicked and screamed. The driver fled the scene with Amber. 4 days later, a man walking his dog found Amber's body in a creek about 4 miles from where she was abducted. As of January of last year, police had received and investigated more than 7,000 tips related to the case. "I miss her every day and she's just so full of life and I wanna know, why her? She was only a little girl," Amber's mother, Donna Williams, said last year. Police said there is limited evidence in the case but they hope that new DNA technologies can help them catch the killer. What police know about the suspect: police believe the suspect is a white or Hispanic man who was in his 20s to 30s in 1996. He is believed to be shorter than 6 feet and had a medium build and brown or black hair. He had a black 1980s or 1990s full-size, fleet-side pickup truck with a short wheelbase, single cab, and a clear rear window. There was no chrome or striping and no visible damage to the truck. "I want to make clear here today we believe this case will get solved. We believe there's no way the killer in this case could have committed the crime in the manner that they did without someone seeing, hearing, or having some knowledge of what happened, Det Grant Gilden with the Arlington Police Department said. Anyone with information should call Arlington Police at 817-575-8823. Amber Alert System created in 1996. Amber's death inspired Diane Simone from Dallas, Texas to call an area radio station and ask if local broadcasters could team up with police to get information out immediately following a child abduction, according to NBC News. That could change thousands of lives. Amber's death inspired Diane Simone from Dallas, Texas to call an area radio station and ask if local broadcasters could team up with police to get information out immediately following a child abduction, according to NBC News. That could change thousands of lives. Other states and communities soon set up their own Amber plans as the idea spread across the nation. As of May 1, 2022, the Amber Alert program has contributed to the recovery of 1,114 children, and wireless emergency alerts have resulted in the rescue of 123 children. There are 82 Amber Alert plans throughout the nation. The plan is in all 50 states, the District of Columbia, the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands. The system is used internationally in 31 countries. The department's guidance on criteria for issuing Amber Alerts is listed below. What are the criteria for issuing Amber Alerts? Each state has its own criteria for issuing Amber Alerts. The PROTECT Act, passed in 2003, which established the role of Amber Alert Coordinator within the Department of Justice. There is reasonable belief by law enforcement that an abduction has occurred. The law enforcement agency believes that the child is in imminent danger of serious bodily injury or death. There is enough descriptive information about the victim and the abduction for law enforcement to issue an Amber Alert to assist in the recovery of the child. The abduction is of a child aged 17 years or younger. The child's name and other critical data elements, including the child abduction flag, have been entered into the National Crime Information Center (NCIC) system. Remembering Amber Hagerman, 27 years later. January 13, 2023. 27 years ago, Amber Hagerman jumped on her pink bicycle for what would turn out to be the last time. The 9-year-old was kidnapped, and 4 days later her body found 4 miles away near the Forest Hill Apartments in North Arlington on January 13, 1996. Police said a man in a black pickup abducted her from the parking lot of an abandoned grocery store. That store was located at 1600 East Abram Street. Witnesses later reported the suspect was white or Hispanic. Witness to her abduction, retiree Jim Kevill remembered the day she was taken. "I saw Amber riding up and down," Kevill told CBS 11 7 years ago. "She was by herself. I saw this black pickup. He pulled up, jumped out and grabbed her. When she screamed, I figured the police ought to know about it, so I called them." Here is the most updated suspect and vehicle description information. Suspect, white or Hispanic male, 20s to 30s, as of 1996, under 6 tall, medium build, brown or black hair vehicle, black 1980s or 1990s full-size, fleet side pickup truck, short wheelbase, single cab, rear window was clear, no sliding window, no chrome, solid black in color, no striping. Truck was in good condition with no visible damage. Hagerman's brutal murder remains unsolved to this day. The crime led to the development of the Amber Alert system, which is now used worldwide to send public signals about missing children in danger. Detectives have said they believe someone, somewhere knows something about Hagerman's abduction and murder. It is possible that there were other witnesses who saw what happened but were fearful about coming forward. With it being a Saturday afternoon that was nice, and a laundromat being right next door to the abduction, we were concerned that there could be people that were there at the laundromat who may have been undocumented and living in this country illegally, Sergeant Ben Lopez told CBS 11. Previously, a dedicated tip line was set up for the public to provide any information, no matter how insignificant, 817-575-8823.
so lonely, I need you here with me, where I'm so close beside you. I'm out here staring, I'm looking out in the sky, wishing I could fly like birds, so fly so high, to reach you, to be near you. Years will pass and leaves will fall,